Welcome to Commander Pat Alesia. Yeah, I always want to say Alicia because he has SIA. It's Alicia, I know.
Okay, you got it.
Commander of the Nassau County American Legion. And Pat, introduce our guest.
Okay, good evening, Malcolm. Nice to see you again. And tonight we have another special guest. His name is John Baptisto Fiore. He's a fellow Vietnam veteran, and he's currently serves as the American Legion County Commander. The Queens County Commander. And in speaking to him recently, he's dedicated to helping veterans and their families. So without further ado, I would like to introduce John.
Very well. Good evening, Pat. Good evening, Malcolm. I'm honored to be on the show. Thank you very much for inviting me. And what's true is true. I believe in the American spirit, and I believe that it's because of veterans we have the freedoms that we do. And anything I can do to support any veteran's cause, I'll be straightforward. The American Legion, of course, being the largest veteran group in the country, is one that I'm proud to be a commander of one of their counties and serve it proudly. I'm very active with it. I'm very active with many other ones too. But this one hits home. It was the first one I joined since I came back, and it's one that I share good spots with other good commanders, and we learn from each other the values of holding the moral fabric of this country together. And I can't work for any better a project.
Hey, John. You know what, John? What we'd like to do is kind of ask you to briefly explain your experiences on active duty.
Okay. Shortly after high school, I knew that the military was definitely on my heels, so I enlisted, and I went down to Fort Jackson, South Carolina, and 8 weeks of basic, 16 weeks of advanced infantry, and on my way over to the vacation land the government so provided for me for the next year, Vietnam. I was there for 3 days under orientation with the 1st Cavalry Division, and from that point on, my rest of my stay in Vietnam was with the cavalry. A proud unit. Was quite an active unit. We were boots on the ground more times than not. Lots of helicopter missions flying one way or another, and I made it back, and I'm proud of it. And I didn't look back a day. I prayed to myself, my country, and my God that I did the right thing.
So did you see like hand-to-hand combat and things like that, or?
I'm afraid our weapons were too quick to run. We were punching them out. It wasn't Brooklyn or Queens. So mostly mine was infighting in the jungles. It was close, I'll give you that much, but no opportunity to put my hands on them. And just as well, wherever we were outnumbered, wherever we were outflanked, but we were just a little sharper. So we did our fighting in the right way. Team efforts. No Rambos.
John, what part of Vietnam were you assigned to?
After my 3-day rotation in An Khê, I arrived in Bien Hoa, then I went to An Khê. After that, I spent the majority or the rest of my tour in the Central Islands of Vietnam. I did 2 trips to Cambodia, 1 to Laos on missions, close to the borders though. And other than that, just back and forth. We did a lot of supporting of other groups that were in trouble. We were such a mobile unit that they were able to pick up 181 of us with sorties of helicopters and then drop us in a hot zone where maybe the 173rd might have had a problem, or the 101st, or 199th Light Infantry. And we worked with quite a few guys and units, and it was an honor. But yeah, mostly in the field. We actually got the nickname Gypsy Battalion because we were constantly being roving around. Never took an R&R. Every time it seemed like I was up for one, who I felt close with got it. And I just didn't feel it was proper for me to go on vacation, have a good time. And I just kept the business at hand. I look back at that now and I know that was a major mistake. We didn't come home to a country that loved us, so all of that pent up was in me. And I wound up coming home to a good job, great family, great family. And I just moved on. And it didn't hit me till almost 35 years later that I realized just how much pain I was in, where my angers came from, and being short-tempered sometimes. And that's it. But the VA's got me now under control, and I'm feeling great. And I'm starting to get back some of the services I gave them. So I'm feeling real good.
That's good. That's good. Now, what motivated you to join the American Legion, John?
American Legion, mostly it was peer pressure.
Okay.
Geez, I came from a small town called Bayside in Queens, and it inundated with, it was very, very heavily inundated with military. And there was a whole bunch of us that went over. And upon coming home, the local American Legion Hall was, I saw a place for camaraderie. I saw a place to get together and, you know, forego all the good old boys clubs that wouldn't allow us Vietnam vets because we were really not in a real war, according to them. But, you know, back then it was hard to put that aside. Because in my opinion, if you put on a uniform and raised your hand, if a bullet of a foreign weapon went over your head, you were at war. And I don't know what the rationale was with the greatest generation that they couldn't grasp that, or a good portion of them couldn't. And it took an awfully long time for that curve to take place, to understand that we really shouldn't stand in silence to any other generation that served. And if they went to a battlefield, it's a battlefield.
You know, as you know, Pat knows, I was one of those that was opposed to the war because I didn't think we should be that we should be in it. But conversely, I was not opposed to the soldiers that went into the war because they were just doing, number one, what they felt right. A lot of soldiers did it because they were drafted, and this was a good old draft. They were forced to do it,
Right.
and not that they wanted to do it. And I don't know any Vietnam veteran who liked to kill or wanted to be killed. I mean, and so again, you know, it was twofold, my feeling. We shouldn't be in there, but the guys who were in there were, you know, were heroes. They weren't someone to be looked down upon or to be spat on, which I think we had a few Vietnam vets on the show that when they came back, they were spit upon by, you know, crowds.
Was one.
Yeah. How did that make you feel?
Kind of like, you know, I was raised by immigrant parents that they had a few rules. Do wrong, you're going to get wrong. And it basically, I led a real smart life. You know, did the right thing, followed my religion, paid attention in school, and didn't mess around, you know. So when I went to Vietnam, you know, there was a patriotism clock inside of me that ticked that said I needed to go. And it was something I wanted to do. I wasn't going to let it be their choice when to take me. I wanted to just do it. I believe if there's a job to be done, get it done. And that was it. I mean, the threats of communism entering the South Vietnamese and another focal point for missiles to be placed and so on and so forth near our allies. I just felt the job was going to be done. Do I now believe that? No, of course not. I'm not an idiot. I mean, I don't think anybody should go to war. But then again, gentlemen like Pat and myself have the right to feel that way because we know it's not. It's counterproductive. There's no winners to war.
Yeah.
There's losers. And it's a shame. But when I came home and I saw this complete disgrace of what you did to the guys coming home, I walked into a JFK airport with 85 family members. You know, I didn't come back alone. That's the other thing, too. You know, those generation guys came back with hordes of guys on shiploads. We came back one at a time, four at a time.
Yes.
We sailed that ship alone. So, you know, now you come back and somebody's looking at you with a fatigue jacket saying, you know, you feel better now? I mean, that's some of the things that were said to me. Do I feel better now? No, I don't feel better now. You know, Malcolm, it's hard to describe. And now, being at 52 years old for me, it's still hard for me to comprehend in my head that we were over there making sure that war didn't come here. And I don't get it. From it, I've never became politically motivated in almost anything. I really just stayed the course, working hard for a living, made a good piece of change in my life, raised a great family. Life was good. And I just didn't understand. And to this day, I still don't understand how you could look at a soldier coming back from a wartime scenario and have any level of disgrace for him is blows my mind. Whether you're for or against it, doesn't matter. I was the individual, not the country.
Right. That's the
That's
way
the
I
key.
felt.
That's the
So,
key.
Malcolm, I'm going to respect how you feel because I certainly do respect that. And I understand it to a great point. But you know what? I was just a man that did a job. That's all. You know, you're so busy doubting me. It was 2 o'clock in the morning. This is what you got to do with your life. It's come at 2 o'clock in the morning to downside a veteran coming home from a war country, a country I served, men I carried under a blanket to a helicopter dead so they can go home. Like, come on, that's too much emotion. You don't understand me.
Yeah, yeah. And I think, John, I think the big thing was that when we came home alone. We didn't come home with units and big parades and everything like that. And I, like you, when I landed at JFK, I might have had 20 relatives who were there to meet me, but that was it, So that was the big difference between then and now.
Malcolm, I don't have no regrets, but I do wish one thing would have taken place when we came home, was that somebody in the government would have debriefed us. You got to understand something. I'm speaking to you as a 72-year-old male who has a war in his belt. Back then, we were 19, 18, 20. We weren't barely old enough to understand anything. You understand? So they should have debriefed us. They should have really tied that ground strap to us and let us filter out what we were going to bring to the world. This is why guys were turned down for jobs. This is why the PTSD thing rang such a large and loud bell. And nobody understood it. Now they use PTSD if their cat died. You know what? I'm sorry. It was a very bad scene, and one of which I would never want to see again to anybody. But that disrespect that was showed us when we came home, that's hard to get past me. I can't. I really can't.
Do you ever discuss this within the American Legion with fellow veterans, no matter what war they were in?
Oh, absolutely. Oh, 100%. My first command in the American Legion was 1970, in a very large post occupied by inundated with World War II boys and Korean boys who had nothing but disdain for me. I brought 15 members with me. The night that I signed up, I came in with 15 Vietnam vets. We revitalized that post. We polished it. We shined it. We had parties. We made money for them. And then one night at a meeting, when I was made second vice commander, that was too much for them to take. They couldn't understand how I was given that honor. And the commander got up and said, because he's doing the job. And that's when the whole thing came out about you guys weren't in a real war. And you know what I did, Malcolm? I could have fought him. I was young and tough. I got up and I instructed the 15 guys that came with me to get up, and we walked out. Because one thing I learned, I don't stay where I'm not welcome. That was it. So that's an unfortunate experience in the American Legion. But that wasn't the American Legion. That was just a couple of that just couldn't handle the fact that another generation of soldiers would be paid homage to. And it's unfortunate. Now, a commander of the American Legion, I tie everything together. I bow down to World War II boys, Korean boys.
You got it. You got it.
I hold their hands. I bring comrades of mine that we go to various different senior centers with the cap on and say, you know what, we're here for you. I want to talk with, that's it. So I've come full circle on how it should be handled. And I run my command that way.
Yeah, that's good. Because from what I could see, a big thing for the American Legion is guys like you could come and talk out your feeling, no matter how old you are. I'm sure you've settled a lot of things in your mind, but you still have deep down inside, there's still angst. There's still remember things, people that you might have lost, buddies that you might have lost along the way, and just the fighting. And it reminds me of what's the line? I love the smell of napalm in the morning, and just the smell of things.
Robert Duvall.
Yeah.
Robert Duvall. Yeah. Hey, John, but how long did you stay away from the American Legion after that particular incident?
Unfortunately, I left there in 71, and I was mentored back into the Legion in 2000 and 4 or 5.
Okay, so it was an extended period of time.
Oh my, I should have been a Legionnaire with 53 years under my belt.
Sure. Wow.
It really did. As much as I wanted to hate those guys, I couldn't bring myself to hate them because they went through just as much as I endured. And they had no idea that not every Vietnam vet was there to party. Not every Vietnam vet was there to be on the backfield, or not every go on R&R or go to Bangkok or have an R. No, there were some vets that did just what they did in the forest and in the beaches. Same thing. And when they disrespected me like that, I'm sorry. I couldn't. But it wasn't a knock to the American Legion because, as you can see, as time went on,
Right.
county, 20 live posts. And I visit them. I go out. I speak with them because they're a little bit on the older side now. So I make myself available to them and others. And I'm constantly recruiting. I have a thing in my slogan in my command called Chase the Black Hat. Because I guarantee if a guy's wearing a black baseball cap, he's probably going to be a veteran. Go up, talk to him, ask him, how you doing? You a veteran? You belong to any legions or anything like that? You know, we're always recruiting. So I believe there's strength still in the Legion, even though the numbers have fallen off because of attrition or who moved out or who's not interested no more. I still think there's lots of strength here for us.
Do you see any difference between your generation of veterans versus the new ones that are coming in, whatever war, the Middle Eastern people?
Good point. I also have a VFW command where I have quite a number of new Iraqi, Afghan returnees, and I'm constantly talking with them too. No, I don't see what we harbored compared to what they're doing. You know, they're coming home with a little more weight on their shoulders because they don't have the glory of working for like what we did. We had great job opportunities for us when we came home, whether it was sanitation, police, phone company. There was a lot of big companies that wanted to help us veterans. But these guys are coming home to tough times. That's why you see so many deployments. You know, we sit here and on, Pat and I could tell you, there are guys that went back 1 and 2 and 3 times to Vietnam, but those are guys you can count on your hand compared to the multiple deployments that are being done by the younger vets because they're coming back to a country that hasn't straightened itself out yet. And they'd rather be surrounded by 150 company men that agreed with them than to come back here and listen to all this anguish and nonsense. So they go back. No job opportunities, probably families a little small and drawn out. That's why you hear about these multiple deployments 5 and 6 times. My God, I would never drop dice like that in Vietnam. I could have went back. I could have been back with lots of money. You know what $10,000 was in 1979, Malcolm? 69? That was a world of money. They offered that to me and stripes if I'd re-up. But I know a re-upping would have brought me back to Vietnam, no doubt about it. And I wasn't about to put my family through that again. But I didn't do it because I was scared. I did it because of I concerned about my family so their faces when I came home. And that was it. My time was.
Were you married then, or was this basically your parents and?
I'm single.
You were single?
I was single. And the only thing I was committed to is God and my family, period. Nothing else. I didn't want to bring nobody else. I had a big family that they just wrote me every day. And they told me that my she cried every single day.
Well, as I found out before from Pat, because he always brings his, to say paisanos in there, Italian. Did you come from a nice big Italian family?
Guilty. Well, not all of us are guilty. But yes, traditional Italian Sunday, everybody's around mama's house with 20, 25 people is nothing to shake at. I mean, Pat's got that on a normal basis, but it's.
I was telling Pat on a previous show, I come from an area, Coney Island. And Coney Island, you had 2 choices. You were Jewish or you were Italian. And the Italian, of course, were Catholics. And we were the same family. I mean, basically, it's a mother stayed home if she could, and she cooked, and she raised the kids. The father went to work.
That's right.
And the mother would say, if the kid misbehaved, the mother would say, wait till your father comes home. And when the father came home, he said, what do you want me to do? I worked the whole day. Leave me alone.
And you know something, Malcolm, we were all friends too. You had Jewish friends and you had Catholic friends. It didn't matter. No, that was a different world. It was a
As
different
I
world.
say, it was the same tradition, same family.
Yes, exactly. I agree.
The
I
same
agree.
mother, the same father. The father was stern, but you could get away with a lot of things. I mean, he was the one you want to go, and your mother said you can't do that, blah, blah, blah. And he slipped you $5 behind your mother's back. He wouldn't confront the mother, your mother, but he
No.
would be, behind her back.
All right. That's funny.
He didn't want to upset her.
That's funny.
Well,
Well,
John, quick question. When you rejoined the American Legion, was it a post in Queens or
Yes.
somewhere else? Oh, it was in Queens.
it's the original post that I belong to this day.
Oh, I see. Okay.
I was chaplain for 8 years, and then
Okay.
I become commander of the county. So yeah. So
Did you work on the county staff before becoming Queens County Commander at all?
I was county chaplain. I was also district chaplain in the Fort Shot Animal.
Okay. Okay.
I had some ladder climbing during that time. So now I'm just looking forward to furthering my ability to help American Legion where I can.
Okay.
How often do guys like you get together to swap stories or to plan what's going to be happening?
Each post has its own bylaws and runs
Right.
it has to do. My particular command, the William A. Leonard 422, is the twice a month. We meet the first Monday and the third Monday. And the third one is a social meet. There's no business discussed there. We have rituals and prayers, and then the women come along, the significant others, wives, whatever, and we offer cake and we have dinner and make a good BS session out of it, so to speak.
But how often do the commanders get together? Yeah, so it's sort of like you and Pat.
Not enough.
Not enough. I was going to say the same thing. I happened to meet him because we invited him to the military ball, which we had 2 weeks ago, and he was nice enough to come. Otherwise, I've only spoken to him on the phone a couple of times in the last year. That was it.
By the way, Pat, what happened to your light? I don't know
What
if it's
happened?
my set. You seem to be in background is dark.
I think the sun just went in. I'll put a light up.
I just noticed it, but your face was okay.
Yeah, no,
Okay.
the sun was out before.
Okay.
With Pat, you got to pay the bill.
Yeah, I know. And the other thing, Malcolm, our higher command is the 10th district. And the 10th district has maybe 3 meetings a year, and we get a chance to see each other at those meetings. But other than that, it's kind of hit or miss.
Yeah, just as being an outsider, I would think that you guys would want to get together more to do like more strategic planning.
We did, but unfortunately,
So you can exchange ideas.
Yeah.
we've got a Nassau County, and the other gentleman runs Suffolk, and then I got Crew. And in itself, that's a hell of a job. So
Yeah.
to find time to do something else could be difficult. You bear in mind, I guarantee you, most American Legion guys belong to other military organizations. And, by the time you start putting a calendar together, you're out of the house 200 days out of the year. And I'm cool. My wife's gone, so I'm all right. I gotta go
I want to put together a softball league, American League softball league that you play within your own group, and then the best teams comes up with an all-star team, and then play the other, because that's fun. Because I used to do that when at the different places I worked.
Yeah, but the problem with that, Malcolm, is some of our guys are not going to be able to run the bases.
Well, you heard of a designated hitter?
Oh, yeah, you're right. We could have a designated runner.
Designated runner.
Yeah.
designated everything.
Or boy, that looks like a single. Put him on first base.
That's funny.
I see, especially with guys, but now you have women also. Athletics are a big thing to get people together. And when I was in business selling radio, selling time, the golf tournaments were a big thing. Because the guys were in golf, and what's good in golf is then at each hole you can have a beer. And by the 18th hole, you couldn't see the hole. You couldn't see the ball.
Yeah, I hear what you're saying. Yes.
But things like that would seem to, especially, I always seem, my mind, a lot of soldiers are more macho, they have a certain pride in their physicality. And, sports are a big thing. Like you go to, all the games, they have them, the army or the color guard come out, and there's a big patriotic thing. But I think what ties them together is the sports.
Yeah, that's a good idea. It's just that, like, I'm 74 years old, and I'm kind of the young guy in my post.
Well, maybe you start organizing and see what happens, and then you get.
Oh, that's a possibility.
Well, good. If a guy's 74 in the post, they have children or grandchildren that could qualify for the team. And
that's
that
a possibility.
Pat Alesia's grandson.
Yeah, okay. Well, I have 12 grandchildren, so maybe I can motivate somebody to play.
Are you kidding? You can form a team on your own.
I can form my own team, is right.
But what I'm saying is, all kidding aside, there's unity. There's
I understand that. That's true. That's true.
A grouping together. But which again, from what I've seen from our shows, there seems to be too much separation.
Yeah.
You do what you do. John does what he does in his group. Peter does what Peter does, but there's no unity of it.
But I think what John was saying before is time is a factor. Okay, I'm a county commander. I have 53 posts that I have to try to visit or communicate with. So you don't have as much time as you think to spread out and do bigger and better things.
Individually. But there's something which I've learned in business is you give you give other people responsibilities. Like we're talking about the show. I mean, a problem that Pat and I have is to get people to come onto the show because nobody has time, and Pat doesn't have time to get people. But what you do is that you allocate the responsibility to people. You go say, hey, I'm doing so and so. Could you do this? Could you help me with this? Which basically is, what your commander does. And actually, like in an army and a unit, you don't do everything.
You delegate. You delegate. That's for sure. Yeah, sure.
But anyway, it's easy for me to say because I'm not doing it.
Anything that's said, you'd be surprised what people hear. And, sometimes just listening, you learn more than just speaking. So I think your point's well taken. And like Pat mentioned, there is a district meeting 3 times a year where we will interact with one another at a district level so that all the commands are there. And at that point, we spend a little bit of time with one another. Now, is it enough? Perhaps not. I can't say that it is based on trying to activate committees or try to perform some sort of another job, so to speak, which is not a hassle. But if you knew the layout of what we have to do as commanders, it's I'm going to call it expensive. I never make it a job because once it becomes a job, then you just don't want to do it no more. I enjoy what I do, and I have a passion for it, as does Mr. Robinson, who runs Suffolk. And I feel the passion when I talk to them. So we're not lacking in wanting to do. It's just a matter of what programs are already set by the Legion. We're performing to the best of our abilities as commanders.
Right.
We're responsible to hierarchy ourselves, and we do it well. So yes, and when I'm at the Queens County meeting, I'm talking about Suffolk and Nassau, and I'm sure that while my back is turned to the Suffolk Post, there's somebody mentioned something about Queens County. So there is that continuity amongst ourselves, and it's strengthened by getting together more often. So we will, this coming year, see more of each other, okay?
Right.
And sharing ideas is a wonderful thing. And none of us...
I mean, in today's modern world, like we're doing, the 3 of us are on Zoom. You can get together with you don't have to be there. You can get together with the other commanders. We can have 20 people on the screen.
Yes, sir.
You're right. And we could talk.
You're right. Listen,
good ideas. Yeah.
And as far as the sports are concerned, if you guys like it, you can bounce off me, and we could do the organization. What you need is a plan, do the organization, and then we'll see if we could actuate it.
Okay, that's an idea. We'll give it a thought.
It's like the generals get together, do the hypothetical planning, and then they speak to the colonels and say, "Okay, get this done."
I have no trouble bringing the subject up at my command, and I'm sure
Yeah,
Pat,
yeah, sure. No, it's,
kind of feedback we get, because like I said, you got age
Right.
coming, this time coming against us, family commitments, even if it involves our grandkids. I mean, my granddaughter played softball. She would love to be involved in this. I get it.
Right, because you got to ask her.
Right. But I'm speaking now for myself. And then when you want to come at that as a unit, it becomes a little bit more of a
a little more
task.
difficult. Yeah.
Yeah, well,
It's work.
it takes planning, but the thing which I'm trying to do again with Pat is not to make this an old, the American Legion, an old soldiers' home. I mean,
agree.
because there are plenty of, you do a great job of, informing the vets what they can or can't do, or their benefits. But the modern vet goes to Google on the internet.
Yeah.
And can find out the information. What you need is something unifying to get them together to want to become, part of the American Legion. And I'm just thinking again, out of the box. I have no idea.
Sure.
But I know in the businesses that I've run or been involved with, these are always unifying things, no matter how old you are. Again, a thing is you can get your families in. So you say, oh, they're older people. Yeah, again, they have children and grandchildren.
Sure.
And the grandchildren might like to go to a place where they see friends of their grandfather. So the grandfather is not only a grandfather, the grandfather becomes a person that had a life and is involved. Anyway, it's an idea.
Okay. No, sounds good. We'll give it a shot.
Yeah. So let me know. Talk to other commanders.
Okay.
And see if they like the idea.
All right. We'll do that. We'll do that.
But anyway, our half hour is up.
Okay.
That's a shame.
Good half hour.
As Pat knows, you're on malcolmpresents.com.
Presents.
Tell everybody and that's a member of your Legion, American Legion, but malcolmpresents.com, and it's Commander Pat Alesia. It's a subtitle, and I have other shows on. Basically, what I call this is it's an internet platform. Malcolm Presents is an internet platform that has podcasts and Zoomcasts.
Very good.
Very good.
And it's on demand. But anyway, I thank you very much. I thank you, as it sounds maybe trite right now, but I thank you for your service.
Thank you. Thank you.
And even though, again, I was against the war, I appreciate your service in the war. And then,
thank you, Malcolm.
Thank you, and I appreciate that. And John, thank you, and you have a great weekend.
Okay, have a great weekend. Keep warm back north.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Bye.
Be good, John. Bye now.